reception to the young man who we're all trying to help here tonight, Thomas Randle.
We're here with aspiring racer Thomas Randle, and Tom, tonight is a big night for you because you're basically looking for investors, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, this has taken quite a lot of planning, and I've got to thank Chris Jewell and my parents for really putting this together, and Rusty French. This is, as you said, a very important night for my future in motorsport.
Why do it this way?
Well, personally, from my experience, it's harder from an Aussie trying to race internationally with corporate funding. For starters, but investment I think really helps build up relationships with people, and ultimately my whole dream has been to become a Formula One driver. So if and when I make it, it's really going to pay back the guys, and it's just going to be a really good support group as well. So I think it's also going to give me the support when I'm over there to know that I've got a whole bunch of guys back in Australia backing me and supporting me.
I mean, talking to these people, I mean, you really have to sell yourself. You just can't go and say, hey, look at my results. There's a lot more to this, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, I hopped in a go-kart when I was 7. I've been doing it for, 14 years now, so I haven't come this far to stop. So the dream is F1, and this is plan A, and it's always been plan A, and there isn't a plan B.
And also, I mean, it's what you want. You have to really instill in these people that this is not just your dream, it's your passion, it's everything to you, isn't it? Yeah,
I mean, firstly, moving overseas last year was a big decision, but it's one of those sacrifices you have to make, and even the diet, the training every day, it's if you want to be a driver, those are just some of the things you have to do. And for me, like you said, this is my life, and all that consists of my life. Some people, motorsport is just a tiny thing they watch on the weekend, but for me, it's nearly 110%.
Here with Rusty French, and Rusty, you've been in motorsport a long time. You must think something's pretty special with Thomas.
Look, I think Thomas is one of these young guys that needs a few opportunities to let him display his skill and daring. And I supported him last year in the Toyota Series in New Zealand, which he ended up winning. And as a result of him winning that, I decided to assist him again this year, which he's now running in the Renault Series in Europe. I felt that we would like to help Thomas go forward in open-wheeler racing, but last weekend I put him in a Kumho car in Queensland Raceway, which was his first drive in one of those. And as I said to Thomas, it's not quite like an open-wheeler, it's a bit like driving a taxi. However, he did quite well. He got 2 5ths and a 4th out of 17-car grid over the weekend. So I was quite happy to see him doing that, because it could very well be further down the line in his career he may end up in a V8 supercar.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, you don't have to do this, but you choose to. Is it your way of investing back into motorsport, or where do you get your enjoyment out of it?
I think there's a lot of kids out there that have got the ability, but they don't have the backing or the sponsorship to be able to get on the grid. And if I can help guys like Thomas to do that, I would like to see other people do the same. But if you think about it, if we don't start helping some of these young kids on the way through, as our drivers do tend to retire out of the competitive series, we're going to be short on for drivers. So I think it's important to help these kids, because if you go back to Mark Winterbottom and Whincup, and most of those guys started in karts, went into Formula Fords, and then progressed into V8 supercars. So I think it's a natural progression that we need to be mindful of.